Welcome back to our 12 Days of Christmas. Today we have something really fun that we're going to do. We're going to pretend like we're little kids. My husband doesn't even know what we're doing. We're going to be little kids today, and we're going to really get in touch with the spirit of Christmas. We're going to make salt dough ornaments and pins. Now, these aren't your typical salt dough ornaments or I don't know how many people make pins out of them, but from the beginning, let's start. I made the salt dough ahead, so we could just skip a step. And this is just your typical salt dough recipe. It is a little bit of, I halved the recipe actually. The full recipe is 4 cups of flour, 1 cup of salt, and 1.5 cups of water. You want to use just regular flour, all-purpose flour, doesn't matter. Buy an inexpensive flour to do this. And regular table salt. You can get, for 54 cents, you can get a container of it at Walmart. So really inexpensive. And your water. So I did the recipe in half. So we each have a small amount here. And then what we're going to do is usually people make the little, what are those little people called? The little gingerbread people, but we're going to make some circles and we're going to make little snowmen. Kind of. We're winging it here. Okay. He's not a person that wings it. He likes to know what's going on, so this is going to be...
It would be nice.
Yeah, it's going to be different for him. So we're going to get it. I'm going to grab... Well, here, I've got you a rolling pin. I'm going to grab a rolling pin, and we're just going to roll this out. I'll get you... go ahead and start rolling, and I'll get you a... what's that in there? I'll get you a little cookie cutter type thing. Right back. You can feel the salt on your hands. Okay, so you want to roll these about 1/4 of an inch. You want to make sure that you're even all the way around, that your edges aren't thinner than the rest, because then you kind of have room for cracking. Do you need some flour on top of yours to not stick?
I'm not sure.
You want to make sure your edges are not thinner. I want to keep those thick. I would say you're pretty much there. These are going to puff just a little bit. They're not going to puff a lot because, there's no leavening agent in them. But I do find that they puff up some. Get mine a little bit thinner. We have these about 1/4 of an inch thick, each one of us. A little thicker. Okay. Then we've got, these are just little donut cutters, but I took the center circle out. So I'm going to cut a circle, a few circles. And when you cut these, you don't want to remove the circle. Well, I mean, you can remove the circle itself, but it's easier to remove the dough around it than it is to remove the circle itself. Because then you risk kind of ruining the edges. So okay, I got 5 out of mine. How many did you get? About 5. Yeah, well, we can re-roll what we have left. Okay, so we're going to take the outside off. This is a rustic looking little craft. It's not going to be perfect, and it's not meant to be perfect. He likes to be precise and exact, and it's hard to fly by the seat of his pants. So me, hey, you make a mistake, just do it again. All right, so now that you're in a little closer, this is my extra dough, it's his extra dough. We'll roll this out some more and do some more of these. But for right now, you have a knife. We're going to cut these in half. So you're gonna have some half circles. Oops, sorry, I'm in your way. They don't have to be exact. If you get one bigger than the other, or if you're a little more oval than you are round, that is fine. I call it character. Okay, so this is what you got. Some little semicircles, and your edges are going to be a little uneven. That is okay. Now that we have these little snowmen, and they are going to be little snowmen, they just don't look like it right now. Now we have these out, you're going to take a little bit of your dough, like a little piece. We're going to make a nose. I know that sounds crazy, but we're going to make a little nose. So however you want to do it. And we're going to stick it to the salt dough. Now, this is a little bit tacky. If yours is a little bit drier and you need it to be a little bit more tacky, then just put a little water on the surface area that you're putting his nose on, okay? So you don't have to worry too much about this sticking though. It'll stick on there. Just push it right down. These little noses are gonna look so cute, and you can do them any which way you like, any size. They're gonna look, you want to make them, a carrot shape, the best that you can, but they don't have to be perfect. And I think that that's what's so great about them. I love that they are not perfect. I mean, you pull a carrot out of the ground, and how many times are you gonna get one that has just squiggly because it's got another carrot wrapped around it? Think about those, because those sometimes can be the best ones. Okay. Just gonna keep rolling along, making these little noses. You can go each way, whichever way you want them to point. My oven just went off. I preheated it to 250. You want to bake them for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Just keep an eye on them. You don't want them to burn. You just want them to kind of slow cook, just until they're cured. This is really fun. I mean, it's almost meditative. It's relaxing. It's really fun to do with kids. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna make some more, and we're gonna do them with our grands. I think they'll have a lot of fun doing this, don't you?
I think so.
They like things where they can use their hands and roll it out and create and kind of do their own thing, I find. They want to do it themselves at the age that they're at right now.
How are you coming on yours?
Well, not too bad. We have one more step after we finish. We're not finished with the noses yet. We're gonna do a little bit more with the noses, but we just want to get them on their faces right now. I like creating really funny, silly ones. I mean, you can be perfect about them, but I don't think they need to be perfect. I think that perfection is in the imperfection, and that's what I like about them.
This guy's got a big honker on him.
It's kind of thick. This is making quite a few snowmen, so you can see why I went ahead and half-batched the recipe. You have all your noses on there?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what we're going to do, let me see if I can zoom you in a little bit more. Get you over here. Okay, can you see? Here we go. All right, it's all in the details. You know when you have a carrot, it has like the little lines? You want to make those little lines, okay? I'm going to create those little lines in the carrots, because those are actually going to make it look a little bit more lifelike.
I missed it.
It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of make him look like a carrot. I mean, as you're making these, you kind of get it. When it's visually showing you what you need to do, if that makes sense. Okay, you see what I'm doing? this one. I'm just lightly going in here and making little indentations. I'm not going all the way through the carrot or the dough. I'm just making slight indentations. Okay, these are ones that I have done already, so you can get a really good idea of what they look like. Be creative. You can already see the snowmen. Be creative with how you do it. I mean, look at this guy's nose. These are so cute. He kind of looks like an elephant, actually. There's all kinds of funny ways that you can do it. This is my extra dough. And you can see Joe's. He is gonna start putting his on a tray. You need a parchment lined tray. That's what we're going to cook them on. So we get them out onto that, and we're going to be getting these into a 250-degree oven for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And you really want to watch them. You don't want them to overcook. But it is fun to see them. And they, you know, they may puff a little bit. Sometimes they do that. They get like a little bit of puffiness to them. I mean, not a whole lot because there's no leavening agent in them. But these are so cool when they're done. Let's get them on the sheet, and we'll roll out some more and finish filling up our tray and get them cooked. They're ready for the oven. And half a batch made 28, and this little guy. This was the last of what we had left for the dough between the two of us, so we made a little round one. He's a little bit smaller than the others. He's gonna be so cute. So let's get them in the oven. Just kidding, we're not getting them in the oven yet. One step I did, a really important step that I forgot to mention. Okay, I'm gonna have my husband do this while I hold the camera. You want to poke holes into the ones that you want to use for ornaments. You want to make it a little bit bigger than you think you're gonna need it because you don't want it swelling closed. But just put it where you think you want it, in the center of the ornament. Make your hole big enough so that if you're stringing it with jute, jute can go through it. If you're stringing it with ribbon, ribbon will go through it. So keep that in mind while you're putting the little holes in there. Then once we've got the holes, we can put it in the oven. And they are finished. I'm gonna just put them onto a cooling rack and let them sit and cool for I'm gonna let them cool for 20 or 30 minutes. They look so good. Look how cute they look. And the holes, they look good. Letting these dry helps them cure. So we'll come back and do what we need to do as soon as they are cooled off enough. Our ornaments are cooled and they're ready for the next step. Actually, we've been working on the next step. We're practicing for you. What we're going to do is we're going to paint them. We're going to paint these little guys. And I'll show you a couple that I have done already. Look, isn't that cute? You see them? These are so adorable. And they look so cute hanging on the tree. Kids will love doing these. Adults love doing these. I do anyway. I think he'd probably say something different because I'm feeling like he's a little bit of a perfectionist right now. But we're going to show you what we're doing a little closer up. All right, the first thing that I'm doing, and you do these however, you know, whatever way you want to do them. I'm using paints that they're just acrylic paints. I have white, I have black, I put them on a little palette thing. I have white, I have black, I have brown, I have orange, and red. So whatever color you want to do will work fine. First thing I am doing is I'm painting the outside of the snowman, everything but the nose. I'm just painting white. You don't have to be really specific on completely covering this, you know, getting it fully coated. It's almost going to look like a dry brush effect, you know, a little heavier than a dry brush effect, but it's not full coverage. And that's what you want. You want it to be a little primitive because these are primitive ornaments. I want to do the edges, the front. Oops, almost dipped into orange. Do the front, and we're going to do the back as well. These make great gifts. They also are great to put onto gifts as name tags. Put somebody's name on the back of it, to so-and-so from so-and-so, and then date it. Because if you see on the back, you have that clear space. If you're doing an ornament, you can always do a pin and do the same, just put the name on the back. These dry fairly quick because this is acrylic paint and it's not gonna take too much time to dry. But just don't be too particular about it. Paint brushes, just use what you have. I have a few small ones, I have a few big ones. I have a lot of paintbrushes actually. I used to teach a craft class for several years. I taught for our school here in our town. I taught for the adult ed program. So I have collected a lot of paintbrushes and art supplies over the years. Like I said, you don't have to be exact on this. I kind of like that effect of not completely covered. You can see. Looks good, doesn't it? Okay. It's the beginnings of our ornament. And it's already, the orange is just about dried on there. And the white, maybe a couple more minutes. But let me show you some pins that I've done in the past. I call them silly snow pins, and this is just a little tag, or you can put to and from, and you can put these on a gift. You can just give them like this if you want to. And there's a pin on the back. This paper is just cardstock. I found this design on the internet, a cute little gift to give to anyone. Another one with a different tag. This one is going to one of our grands, so it's a little kid's tag on there. But again, it's just a pin, and you can see the faces are all really different. You know, they're not the same at all. Let me see if I can get a look at this little guy. And then I have this one. See, he's got a different mouth and different eyes. Just give him some character. If you wanted to do one of these as a pin, all you'd have to do is get some of these. These are little, you can get them at your craft store. Walmart might even carry them, I don't know. It depends on your area, I guess, because Walmart has really cut down on a lot of their stuff. But you would just hot glue that to the back, your little snowman. Just hot glue it on there, and you have a little pin. Great tip, use the back, see your paintbrush, use this end, dip it in black, and then select the spot you want your eyes. Do mine up here. Dip that into some black paint. It's perfectly round, so it's gonna give you a perfectly round look. Then, for the little impressions in his carrot nose, what I do is I take a toothpick and kind of get a little bit off of the toothpick and drag it through there. You want it to look like dirt, to be totally honest. And if you feel like it's just completely a lost cause, paint it orange again and start over. Okay, this is what mine looks like. But we're still not finished. I'm gonna take a toothpick, again, dipped it into the white, and I'm gonna give him a little white to his eyes. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of the brown and I'm going to wipe most of it off onto newspaper and wipe most of it off, and then I'm going to dry brush onto my carrot. I'm wiping as I go because it gives me that aged look that I'm looking for, the dirty look. That's what I want. See, it kind of finishes it, dirties it up. And cheeks. For cheeks, again, I'm dry brushing in the red. Dry brushing is simply putting some paint on your brush and then wiping most of it off. And then I'm taking that brush and I'm giving him some color on his cheeks. Less is more when it comes to doing this because I'd rather put too little on there and go back over it than put too much and not be able to remove the color. You just want a hint of color on there, or maybe you don't. Maybe you don't want the hint of color on it. So you can just see just a little blush. And then we're going to string him. I'm using a really small hemp cord. I just knot the two ends together. And there you go. Turn him around. You can hang him on the tree or give him as a gift.